So I just got back from watching the movie Eternals with a couple of buddies, and I really didn't know what to expect with this movie because on the one hand, the trailers made it look really, really, really awesome, but yeah, the it is at this point the lowest rated MCU film ever on Rotten Tomatoes, that is, which is kind of sad. Like, this movie got lower ratings than Iron Man 3 and Iron Man 2 and Thor the Dark World and Captain Marvel. What are they doing here? Anyway, so yes, this is nowhere near the worst of the it is not in the worst of the MCU. I wouldn't say it was great. Another reason why I didn't know what to expect with this movie is because, honestly, and I can't believe I'm going to say this, but Phase 4 of the MCU has been a little bit of a letdown at this point. Because, I mean, like, you had WandaVision, which was really, really good until, like, the last episode, which, I don't know, it turned something unique and cool and fun and quirky for the MCU into kind of just another big slam bang MCU average finale, which was a disappointment. And I only realized that upon later rewatches. And then Falcon and Winter Soldier came out, and it was great. And then the last episode literally ruined the entire show for me. And I know that sounds a little bit over dramatic, but I don't get it. Like, what? I don't understand the decisions that they made. It's like, if WandaVision was a little bit of a disappointment, this was a huge disappointment. Loki was great all the way through. Yes, it was. Then there was Black Widow. I don't know if Black Widow was a disappointment because I didn't think it was going to be, like, great or anything. But there were some elements that were disappointing, like the villains, Taskmaster, Dreykov, who I hate, and I don't know if I hate him. He's a moron, but still, I don't know if I hate him. And then I feel like they didn't really do enough to establish why Black Widow had so much red in her ledger. Like, they say in the Avengers that, oh, can you wipe out that much red? And, like, it was just, like, one really bad thing that she did. It would have made sense if it was, like, a series of bad things, but no, it was just this one bad thing that she didn't do for that terrible of a reason, I think. I don't know. I only watched the movie one time when it came out. I should probably watch it again. Yeah. I don't know. So, yeah, it wasn't really a disappointment, but I do wish it had, been better. Same goes for Shang-Chi. It was, I wish it had been better. It was still really good. I really enjoyed it, but I just wish it was better. And then there was What If. It was only after What If wrapped up that I realized that I didn't actually like the central concept of seeing the MCU recontextualized. It made me rethink a lot of things that I didn't want to rethink and had no justification for rethinking. Like, it was What If. It was literally a what if scenario. And, well, there were some great moments, Doctor Strange episode. I don't know, most of it was just kind of bad. I don't know. I did not really care for it that much. And then there was this movie, and I wanted it to be better. I really did. I'll admit that. It was still really, really enjoyable. But, yeah. I feel like there was a lot of stuff in this movie that, I don't know, the first, third, maybe, is really, really just so overcrowded with a bunch of exposition, because this movie has to do a whole lot of stuff. It has to chronicle 7,000 years of history. It has to establish all of these characters' relationships to each other individual character. It has to establish all of them, all 10 of these Eternals that we're supposed to get to know, and it does it all in 2 hours and like 30 minutes. That is insane. And it doesn't do it poorly, but the fact that it does it at all is, I don't know, it just feels so overstuffed. Like, it feels like there was enough in this movie that they could have made 2 movies out of the material in here. They could have done one that was like entirely all flashbacks. The flashbacks in this movie, it was like, come on, we get it. There are flashbacks. Come, let's get this over with. But and they were important stuff, but the problem is there was so much important stuff that it didn't really all fit into this one movie. And I feel like there was no way to put it all in here without making the movie like 3.5 hours long, which of course would have been completely ridiculous. Because, I mean, Endgame wasn't even that long, and we'd been with those characters for over 10 years. And this movie was like introducing characters, and it's like a little over 20 minutes longer than Endgame. It's longer than Civil War. It's longer than Infinity War. It's one of the longest MCU movies yet, because it has to do so much. And at times, it really felt so overcrowded with stuff. Like, there was so much world building. All the stuff with Arishem, I think. And, like, there were some of the reveals about the Eternals that felt like they just came too early. And they just, I don't know, it was like common knowledge, so it feels like, okay, so why didn't they just establish that at the very beginning of the movie? Like, I don't know, I'm trying to avoid spoilers here, but, yes, there is a reveal that felt like it was too early. You may know what I'm talking about if you watch the movie. So yeah, but, and then it was hard to pinpoint who the villains were, because, like, it was clearly the deviants, but there were, again, trying to avoid spoilers here, but, there were characters who could have been categorized as antagonists, or at least antagonistic figures in the story. But I don't know, because I am planning on doing an MCU villains ranking in the same format as I did my MCU heroes ranking, because there's a lot. There's like 50, close to 50 that I wanted to include. There's like 45, really, and then a couple more added in here with this movie. Didn't include any characters from What If. I'm not doing that. But I still did really enjoy this movie. I think all the characters were established well, and I was able to enjoy them. And it felt like in the first third, they were like holding it back emotionally. It was like everything was super serious all the time. And then once they got to like Gilgamesh, it felt like they were able to lighten up a little bit. And then the movie just, it started out like, yeah, I was really afraid because I thought I wasn't going to like it. But then it just kept getting better as the movie went along. There were 2 mid and post-credit scenes that were not mind-blowing. Mainly because I knew that they were coming because I looked it up on Wikipedia like a moron. Well, I'm not going to make that mistake when No Way Home comes out. No. Oh, no. No, I'm staying off the internet for, like, weeks before that movie comes out. So yeah. Or at least I'm staying off YouTube and Google. I'll probably have to use Docs for something. But I don't know. I'm going to do some Spider-Man stuff when No Way Home comes out, so I'm probably going to have to use Docs for some of that, but yeah, I'm avoiding all that. Back to this movie. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. It looks fantastic. Like, oh man, the production value is top notch. All the color schemes are great. The visual effects might be the best in the entire MCU. I'd say the only maybe a close second would be Infinity War, and then possibly Endgame, and then the Guardians films probably, or maybe not in any particular order. But this really is a fantastic looking movie. The powers are all visualized in very creative ways. Um, and yeah, I feel like the powers not a whole lot new in terms of abilities that we haven't seen before. Like, I mean, you got Icarus in there, and he's so much like Superman that they literally pointed out in the movie. And like, I don't know, I was sitting next to one of my friends, Critical Crouton, and I was just like, every time Icarus showed up, I was like, hey, it's Superman. And I don't know, it was just like, it's kind of crazy how much he's like Superman. And Richard Madden would seriously be a great Superman. So yeah, I'm never going to cast him as Superman, because he's already in this, and this just is Superman. Also, there were certain comparisons that I want to make to something about a certain character in the finale of this film. Something that is rather recent. And I cannot do it here because I want this to be spoiler free. But yeah, I'm not gonna do like a spoiler review or anything. But if I ever get the chance to talk about this movie at any point again, I'll probably just do it then. The movie was very funny, especially some of the jokes with Kingo, played by Kumail Nanjiani. I may not be pronouncing that right, but anyway, he is really, really funny. I've enjoyed him for a couple years now, and he's just hilarious in this movie. He has this little butler dude that follows him around, and or valet, whatever, and they just had a really charming back and forth. In terms of other companions to the Eternals, there was Dane Whitman, played by Kit Harington. And, yeah, I enjoyed him. He was funny. He had great chemistry with Cersei. Speaking of Cersei, I didn't think she was great, but she was okay. She was fine. My favorite Eternals were probably Kingo, Icarus, probably Phastos, Gilgamesh, and Thena, definitely. I really enjoyed Thena. Angelina Jolie. I haven't seen her in a whole lot. Really just the Maleficent movies, and I hate the Maleficent movies, both of them. Especially the second one, but the first one too. I loathe both of the films almost equally. And here, she is excellent. Like, she's fantastic as this character. She has this really heartwarming bond with Gilgamesh, played by Don Lee. Never seen him in anything. But yeah, there was Druig that I was not expecting to like. But yeah, I enjoyed him. There was Sprite. She was funny. Ajak. I wish she had more screen time because I liked her when she was there. But I still really enjoyed her as a character. There were a series of twists and reveals in the film that I very much enjoyed and did not see coming, I admit. But yeah, there's not a whole lot else to touch on in this movie. It gets better as it goes along, for sure. It looks great. The action is spectacular. The characters are fairly reasonably well developed. Not super well developed, but like they have good relationships with one another that are clearly established. And while the movie does kind of struggle to find like its footing, I suppose is the right word to use, it really does improve a great deal as it really gets going. It doesn't pick up for a little bit, but I enjoyed it. It's not one of the better or best MCU entries, but I'm still not entirely sure on whether or not this is where this is going to fall in my MCU ranking, but yeah, I liked the movie. I give it a B. It was solid effort from the MCU. So yeah, what do y'all think of this movie? Remember to like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching, and keep calm and watch on.